Bills fans, I'm not even going to attempt to lie to you. I'm not going to tell you a white lie. I'm not going to tell you a partial lie. The truth is, this was likely the worst season y'all will have in the last 5 years.
Shut up the Bills! It's not house! It's not house!
Yeah, we the Buffalo Bills. Yeah, we the Buffalo Bills. You better know that. Look how we throwing and catching, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. You better know that. Look how we running and hitting, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. Reppin' the mafia, yeah. Reppin' the mafia, Bills, yeah. You better know that. Look how we throwing and catching, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. You better know that. Look how we running and hitting, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. Homie, now listen. Everyone play their position. Buffalo got a tradition. They say we trippin'. They better get out our way. Top of the table, we flippin'. We on a mission. Got an unstoppable team. Continue to follow your dream by any means. Buffalo, get in the Super Bowl ring. Cause we the Buffalo Bills. Yeah, we the Buffalo Bills. You better know that. Look how we throwing and catching, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. You better know that. Look how we running and hitting, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. Reppin' the mafia, yeah. Reppin' the mafia, Bills, yeah. You better know that. Look how we throwing and catching, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. You better know that. Look how we running and hitting, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. Mafia up in your city, time to get gritty. Screaming and yelling, we bugging. Look at the red and blue.
This is an MVP year for Josh Allen. As an MVP voter, I said this last week. Josh Allen, he looks like an MVP. When you vote for MVP, and I can speak for myself, I think I'm one of 50 voters, you look at a couple things. Who's the best team in football? Who's the best player on that team in football? What do they look like as the best player on that team in football? And how much talent is around that best player on that best team in football?
And good evening, everyone, from the West Coast here in Los Angeles to the East Coast in the NYC Metro. We have Whittle. Welcome here to another edition of Do Champions. And we are here on this Wednesday. We are a week and a half away from week one, Bills Ravens on Sunday night. And we just have a few topics to discuss tonight. So we have a packed show tonight and we have a special guest. One thing we wanted to get into before we get started here, and I just want to bring something up here. Our Do Champions Twitter account, to go to @DoChampions, we have a special giveaway going on, Whittle, and everybody can go in. It is presented by our good friend Glenn Goodberry. He's giving us away a custom 90s Josh Allen jersey. So give us a follow. You can see a little preview of it here. So
which one is that? That's the Bills fans win?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. That's the one we like. Okay. That's the one we like.
That's the one we like. That's the one we like. Yes. So please give goodbye. Go there and they're partnering to give away a custom jersey. All you got to do is follow Do Champions and Glenn, and that's it. So we're looking to get more follows, and please get in there. It's free. Free is for me. I mean, what do you got to lose, right? Just a quick follow. And it's great if we could get the follows, more content as we get ready for our Bill season. We're going to have just a lot. We are just scratching the surface. So Whittle, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, man. I now have a college freshman. My daughter has fully moved into her dorm.
Congratulations.
Her and her roommate. Yeah, man. It was a good moment, man. I wasn't prepared for it. Still not totally prepared, but yeah, the good.
Goodberry. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Whittle, as a dad, like, how did that feel like when you left? Like when you dropped her off, right? You get her moved in, right? You're kind of, it's got to sum up a lot of emotions, right? When you think about just the whole journey he's been on, right? So.
Yeah, no, it's like the morning of we moved a lot of her stuff in last week, but that was still not the actual day. So I kind of was able to kind of avoid some of the emotions, but man, I'm listening. Yesterday, everything just kind of hit me, and when I woke up, I realized like, wow, like my daughter's in college. Like I remember as a baby, and so you get hit with all of that stuff, man, and yeah. So somebody was cutting onions around me, and things got a little crazy. But yeah, and I'm happy and proud of her. She just did her like one of our freshman orientation classes today. She's already hit me up for snacks. So, the full on college experience is going on.
Yep. Little,
Yeah. But
the
today,
more onions you cut up, the better of a dad you are. That's how I look at it. That's a good thing. So take that as a
yeah,
blessing.
man.
Yep.
Yeah. She so we got that done, and she's close though, so that's good. But today we're gonna talk a little bit about, obviously we're gonna talk about the Bills. This is a very important week. Cut down day. The rosters go from 90 or 91 in our case to 53. And, the practice squad gets filled up, and, last minute free agent acquisitions, things like that, trades, all of that stuff is taking place, over the next few days. And but before we get into the Buffalo Bills, we're going to talk about one of our divisional opponents. This has been a long time in the making. We have Neil Driscoll here. He's a Miami Dolphins fan, one of the more knowledgeable Dolphins fans. Shout out to all the Dolphin fans that we interact with on Twitter. But
Yes.
yeah, like
Hmm.
Neil's one of the ones that we have really good football conversations with, and
Hmm.
he's a lot like us. We're very honest about our teams. We're fans, but we're still honest about our team. So I always appreciate his outlook and his views on the Miami Dolphins. But before we get into that, Brian, let's go ahead and get the message from our sponsors out so we can get right back into it. Because
Let's do it.
after Neil talks about Miami, we may have another guest pop on a little bit later. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. All right. So let's
Got it.
sponsors. Let's get to it. We can't find it. Oh, there it is. Never mind.
There we go.
For the best Italian food in Western New York, Elliot Apollos, call 716-825-3675. The Lardon Construction Group.
Fubo TV, the official streaming service of Do Champions. FanDuel, the official sportsbook of Do Champions.
For all your summertime needs, beauty pools, as well as kayak pools.
CX Chronicles, your total customer solutions focused manager. W.GG, the official energy drink of Do Champions.
Hey, Sons of Erie, our artwork looks better on your walls. Hamburg Brewing, please visit our tap room on Boston State Road, Hamburg, New York. And finally,
Fat Boy Surf Club for all your surfing needs.
And again, thank you to all our great sponsors, and again, we look forward to working with them every week. So welcome back. So Whittle, take it away. Introduce our awesome guest here we have.
Oh, well, we can go. This goes without saying. This is our buddy Neil. He's a Miami Dolphins fan, and definitely one of the more knowledgeable fans, that we have on the app and on Twitter. And it's always awesome to talk ball with him. So without further ado, Neil, welcome to the show, man.
Yeah, what's up, guys? Thanks for having me. It's been Whittle, like we've talked about this for a while. I know we chop it up
Yep.
into spaces. Every morning we jump in the Jets commute and really literally on your commute to work, we talk ball. And, there's a lot of good Twitter spaces out there. And, we know some of the ones that get crazy, but, it's fun. Sometimes it's good to take it up an amp or two. So, no, but it's good to finally get on here and talk some ball.
Yeah.
Go.
But so obviously we're division rivals, and it's really just kind of been us the last couple of years between, trying to figure out who's, the AFC East. Fortunately for Bills fans, we've been able to come out on top um, over the last, 4 or 5 years. But Miami has gone through a little bit of a facelift, and things look a little different now. But Miami hasn't, in my opinion, hasn't gone away. And if you want, let's get right into it. Last year, Miami missed the playoffs. They were, what were you guys, 9-8, I believe, right?
9-8.
9-8.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Then you had the offseason with Tyreek Hill and his offseason shenanigans. Chris Greer potentially being fired, Mike McDaniel potentially being fired. A lot of things kind of influx down there in Miami. The left tackle, Taron Armstead retires, and it's like at that point I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, all right, well Miami's done. Like they had their run, and that's pretty much it. But then you take it from here, Neil. I what changed? What changed between that then and now?
Yeah, man. If you in 2023, if you come and I live in Baltimore, Maryland, and you went to the Wegmans I go to, there was no Aqua Orange Kool-Aid left. I was buying it. The Dolphins offense put up 70 on Denver. They looked like their offense had the NFL caught off guard. It was the only season that we've seen Tua Tagovailoa make it. I might have to shop at a different place though, because they sell here in Baltimore Josh Allen cereal and barbecue sauce at that Wegmans too. But it was one of those things that like I really thought the Dolphins had the best roster they've had in a long time. That game they had in their sights where they blew the division to me was that Monday Night Football game against Tennessee, up 13 points with just under 4 minutes left in the game. I remember sitting on my couch, a few whiskeys deep, being like, we're going to go to Buffalo and just lose this division. And I know it's going to happen. And sure enough, that's what happened. We tried to run it back last year and, injuries, quarterback missed 6.5 games again. And, what they did this season, I think, is they put very little guaranteed money on the books in 2026. And to me, that's the soft landing that if this team doesn't achieve goals that they've set, I think Tyreek Hill is going to be a goner regardless because he has a $52 million cap hit and they saved 36.3 by releasing him. No chance he's coming back under that contract. And Tyreek doesn't strike me as the guy that's going to take a big pay cut to stay here, right? So it's that, and it's also, I think, the soft landing that if this quarterback can't stay healthy, they're going to eat dead money in the way that Denver ate dead money to move on from Russell Wilson. And it's a big year for them because I think they had a really good draft. Their entire class made the roster. I was a big Kenneth Grant guy. I'm a draft head. I used to be a draft analyst for Pro Football Network for a few years. I was a big Kenny Grant guy. I really liked their draft class. But what I think I like most is what they're doing in the draft to build for the future. If you've read my timeline, I am not high on the Dolphins like I've been in the past. I think there's tiers to this, and I think the Bills, Ravens, and Chiefs are on that top tier. That second tier is kind of interesting, right? Because traditionally we'd put the Bengals on there, but man, that offensive line and that defense is a mess. As good as Burrow, Chase, Higgins are, but they're probably there if we look at it. The Broncos, I think, are a team that are probably on that list. And just because the division they are in, you have to put Houston there. I think the Bills, the Texans, the Ravens, they could all win their divisions by a few games, and it wouldn't really strike me. But 7 teams have to make this playoff. And after you get through those 6 teams, that next tier to me is the Dolphins, the Steelers, and the Chargers. And I think one of those 3 teams will get in. They all have serious questions. I think the front 7 of the Dolphins defense is probably the strongest we've seen in quite some time. They got a contract done with Sealer. I mentioned they added Kenny Grant. The rookie who's really turning heads is a 5th rounder out of Maryland. Jordan Phillips has been awesome. I'll be honest, he's been as good as Kenny Grant, and Kenny Grant's been very good. So that is music to our ears. Benito Jones been kind of a little bit of journeyman, started his career, but he's a good depth type of guy. Our pass rushes is probably, if everyone can stay healthy, I'd say one of the better units in football. With obviously they brought in Matt Judon, they have Jalen Phillips, Bradley Chubb. The player I'm most excited about for the Dolphins this year, it's Chop. I think Chop is on the verge of breaking out and becoming one of the better pass rushers. Jordan Brooks and Tyrell Dodson are a good serviceable linebacker crew. William Gay has been a standout, but I'm not going to cut corners, man. Like they signed Rasul Douglas today. He's an average NFL cornerback to me. And he's going to start for us. Right. So when you're starting cornerbacks like Storm Duck and, you go out and get Julius Brents today off the waiver wire. I mean, you're Jack Jones, they signed to a 1-year deal. I mean, they are literally trying to put Humpty Dumpty back together again. Right. Mm-hmm. And I don't think moving on from Jalen Ramsey was a bad move, honestly. And getting back Minka was actually pretty nice. But in this league, when the 3 or 4 best quarterbacks in football are all in your conference and one of them you play twice a year, I mean, you don't want to go to battle with bad corners. So like that's what their Achilles heel is. And as good as that offense looked under Mike McDaniel in 2023, and, they were top 5 offense the year before. I mean, man, the chemistry between Tyreek and Tua is not what it was. And it's on and off the field. They need to transition this team, in my opinion, through Jalen Waddle and Devon Achane. They have the worst tight end room in football. It is what it is. You mentioned the retirement of Teron Armstead. Patrick Paul's probably been the most pleasant surprise out of Dolphins camp this year. He's looked really good. They upgraded their guards. It was Robert Jones and Liam Eichenberg last year, and they were ranked 62 and 63rd if you care about what Pro Football Focus is. James Daniels and the second rounder Jonas Savigny they threw in. They have Brewer, Austin Jackson's on the right side. I mean, it's a better unit than it was last year, but we all know that continuity along the offensive line means something, right? So these guys haven't played an NFL down together, and they got to stay healthy, Austin Jackson. But when you think of the Miami Dolphins, the first thing you think about is the health of their quarterback. And for the 5 last years, he just hasn't been able to stay healthy. And there's strengths that he has, his accuracy, his RPO. He's as good as at anyone in football at that. But you nailed this kind of earlier. In my opinion, the best players in football, and especially at the quarterback position, are those that can create in chaos. When the plays break it down, can you extend it? Can you make the plays down the field? And we have not seen that. And we have not seen that. We saw that at Alabama. We have not seen it in a consistent nature here in Miami, right? It's no surprise. Josh Allen's been the Dolphins' kryptonite since he's been there. I think we're like 1-9 against them. His quarterback rating against us is I've never had one player as a 36-year Dolphins fan take it to us like Josh Allen has, right? We're actually 1-2 against Lamar Jackson somehow, but the last time we played him, it was 59-10, right? So I think I know our place in the AFC. And it's one of those things which you never want your team to lose. And I never wake up Sunday saying, I don't want the Dolphins. But I will say this, them going 9-8 again and maybe sneak into a wild card could be one of the worst things that could happen to them, because it might extend everything they have in place for another season.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So this is where I think we disagree. I am a lot higher on the Miami Dolphins than you.
You are.
Now,
I know you are.
Yeah, no, listen. I think one thing I've learned over the last few years, especially when you see a team like the San Diego or the Los Angeles Chargers look like a completely different organization by the head coach changing and the emphasis put on the trenches. They went after defensive tackles who were stout against the run, Jamari Caldwell, guys like that. And then they shored up that offensive line. They brought in Joe Alt. They're moving Zion Johnson around to figure out what's best for him. They made some additions in the trenches. And I think once teams realize that, they kind of figure once teams figure it out, you start to see an increase in their ability to win games in multiple ways. Tampa Bay beat the Chiefs. What did the Chiefs do? They went out there and they said, you know what, we got to fix this offensive line. The Eagles have always had a strong offensive line. They just won the Super Bowl. The Rams had a solid offensive line when they won the Super Bowl, but they went up against a team who had no offensive line. So when and the Bills became a better team, in my opinion, more efficient team, a tougher team to beat, even without the talent on the offensive side of the football, or the defensive side of the football, if we're counting last year, as prior Bills teams, because of the strong trench play. Offensive line, really, really good, being able to run the football, being able to dictate to teams how this game is going to be played. If you want to be a high-flying team, we're just not going to let your offense on the field. No problem. We'll run the ball and we'll get 4 or 5 yards a pop. If you want to be a team that's going to try to play that game with us, well, we're going to stop you from running the ball, and then you're not going to get to our quarterback, and he's just going to sit there and pick your defense apart. So I think that that's where the Dolphins have made a huge investment this offseason. Patrick Paul, I mean, he was a wild card for me last year when you drafted him because the athletic upside was there, the size profile, all that other stuff. But he didn't really have I would say he didn't really have that impressive of consistent tape from Houston. But you get him in here, and now he's playing, he's playing every day, and he looks great. You have so the kid I think you came from Jonas Avdalia. Yeah.
Jonas Avdalia, yeah.
Yep. So you bring him in. I thought he looked good as well. Yeah, the center you got from Tennessee. I thought he was going to stink. He was great last year for you guys.
Aaron Brewer, yep, he's been good.
Yeah, Aaron Brewer, yeah. So now you bring in Austin Jackson, who, albeit has been hurt a lot, but when he's there, he's been solid. Now you have 4 starters on that offense, 4 out of 5 guys who are pretty much reliable guys. And you've always been able to run the football. In my opinion, you've always been able to run the football under Mike McDaniel. He's figured out ways to utilize the natural movement of a defensive line or a defense to get them out of position and then attack them in ways that the defense is not ready for. Now you have the ability I think you have the ability up front on the offensive line to now get the tough yards, in addition to still having some of that Mike McDaniel funky run scheme stuff that he likes to do. That only makes the RPO game better. That only makes play action better. I think that favors Tua because it slows down the pass rush because you have to be aware of the rushing attack now. A guy like Ollie Gordon, who's going to not only be able to get you receptions out of the backfield, but he's also going to be able to slam in there and get you 3 yards. Pretty much fall forward every time he touches the football. I think that the Dolphins are finally building it the right way. I think you guys have the best defensive line in football. I know that there are other, more high-profile defensive lines. I know the Steelers have a bunch of really good guys up there. I know the Rams, the defensive line. I know the Eagles' defensive line looks formidable as well. I don't think that anybody goes from starters. I don't think anybody goes 8 deep like you guys do. You guys go 8 deep, and that's Chubb. It's Phillips, who I don't know how these guys do it. Like Phillips, he might be related to Wolverine because this guy gets hurt and he comes back in the shortest amount of time with no drop off from his play. I don't know how he does it, but he's a freak of nature. You have those 2 guys, Chop Robinson. You have
Matt Judon.
Sealer. Judon, you brought in Judon, who's a year removed. I think he's in his 2nd year removed from that chest injury that he had in with the Patriots. So then you go to the defensive tackle. You got Sealer, who's the only defensive tackle who's had double-digit sacks over the last couple of seasons, and then you add to that. The rookies. You got Kenneth Grant, who took in the 1st round. Jordan Phillips, who the Bills probably should have taken instead of, well, I'm not going to say that. Shout out to TJ Sanders and shout out to the guys we got, but I really wanted Alfred Collins or Jordan Phillips in addition to Deion Walker. Those are my draft guys. And I remember watching a draft. I remember watching a draft, an interview with a draft scout. And I can't remember the video. I can't remember the scout, but this was over the summer before. This was over in last season before the draft before the draft season. Really kicked off a high gear, and they were talking about defensive tackles. They were breaking them down, and this guy gets up there. He says, "Yeah, Jordan Phillips from Maryland. I have him as the third defensive tackle in the draft. And I was shocked by that because, you had a bunch of guys, like I said, Alfred Collins, you had a bunch of guys who I thought were, better prospects. Jordan Phillips with the shorter arms, not, no real pass rush, no real pass rush chops in college. And this guy gets to the league, man. He gets to the NFL, and he's a monster. Like I implore anybody who likes film, who likes to go back and watch, just pull up all of Jordan Phillips' reps. He is a demon out there.
Right.
And
He's a strong he is strong at the point of attack, man. He is so strong. He plays
right.
I mean, yeah. I couldn't when he went to and full disclosure, I'm a Maryland grad, so I paid attention a lot to him and Dante Trader, who we drafted in the 5, and the defensive line coach at Maryland, who's the assistant defensive coordinator, a guy named Brian Williams. We exchanged some messages about Jordan Phillips, and the statement was if this guy would have stayed in school, he would have been a second-round pick. That's what his feedback was. It was, if he would have came back and got some of that polish, more people would have taken notice. But I will say, like he's been quite the find for us. And even the guy they drafted in the 7th round from Georgia Tech, Zeke Biggers, is a guy who ended up sticking and making the roster. And, it's a tough week as a football fan. Like, I think we all like draft prospects, and we grow, we follow them through the career, and you see so many of them get released this week. And it's tough, man, because good football players get cut. Like that, it's the T53 on a team. There's
really
32. The math just doesn't math beyond that, right? So you see all these names that you've watched, and it's just like, it's amazing. And one thing I've noticed today was just teams are giving up on young players that are 2nd and 3rd round picks way sooner than they used to. And we have one named Cam Smith that is now on the non-football injury list, but I do feel like his days in Miami could be numbered as well.
Yeah.
We
saw Ardrick Estimate get cut. Running back
was a beast at Notre Dame, right? Was a beast at Notre Dame.
Yep. Guys, Juju Brents.
We signed him today.
Yeah. That's another underrated signing, man. Like,
so I don't know, higher on the Dolphins than I am, which is surprising. Are you a guy that has them in the playoffs, or do you believe in like the team like the Patriots, or do you think they're getting a lot of unwarranted hype?
No. So I was gonna save this till later, but I'm standing firm on the Dolphins are gonna finish second in the division.
Yeah.
I have the Dolphins. I have the Dolphins fighting with the Chargers and the Steelers for the last 3 play. Like there's 2 playoff spots. I think those 3 teams are gonna be in it at the end.
Yeah, I kind of see that too. I see it just like you see it. That's where I see it. And it's a steep drive. Like the AFC, the top is heavy, but the bottom is bad, right? Like the Titans. I don't know what goes on in Jacksonville. Trevor Lawrence just hasn't lived up to it, right? The Colts going from Richardson and giving up on him so quick to Daniel Jones. The Raiders, right? Like, they signed Christian Wilkins, and now he's gone. Now Jacoby Myers went out. It's just the Browns, for example. God, like that team. I feel bad about the Dolphins quarterback position, and I'm like, what does Cleveland get? Brandon Whedon, Manziel, like they can't find a quarterback. So I'm with you, and it's funny because if the Dolphins do what they do, like we all have opinions. I like to look at the trends. If Tua's healthy, he beats the teams he should, and there's a lot of them on the schedule, right? I'm a 36-year fan, man. I haven't seen a playoff game in 25 years, right? Like a lot of people don't know this. Jets, Bills, Patriots. Sure, we're all division rivals. My least favorite team in football is the Baltimore Ravens because in 1996, all of my friends that like other teams jumped on their bandwagon, and they've won 2 Super Bowls where I haven't even won a playoff game in that time period, right? So, it's tough to see such a good franchise in your backyard, yet loyalty is usually a good quality, and I haven't been rewarded for it. But it's definitely one of those things that, like, the test for me, and it was like this last year, and it didn't work out, and the Bills, beat us bad, and Tua had a concussion, is that week 3 game. I mean, they could go beat the Colts week 1, 50-0, and the Patriots. I mean, look, Tua's 13-0 against the Jets and Patriots in his career, right? Like, that doesn't do anything for me anymore. Week 3, Buffalo, and just full disclosure, I do not have them winning that game, but like that, you want to surprise me? That's what you got to do. Like Mike McDaniel, Tua, Tyreek, that trio is tied at the hip for me. And I'm so tired of the podium wins and we're not afraid to talk about Super Bowls and blah, blah, blah. And our coach goes up there with Yeezys and Brightlands. And I'm tired of that, man. Go win football games that you're not supposed to win. Prove something to me. And then you'll make me a believer. And I am a guy that was probably the first in this fan base to turn on Mike McDaniel. I think he might be priority or enemy number one right now for this football team, where from a schematic standpoint, he's a great coach. His game day play calling is hot and cold. His situational play calling in short down and distance situations is horrendous. His game management and challenging and lack of and when to do it is really mind-boggling. But, I hate to say it, it's a fine line from being a coach and being people's friends, right? And I think it's changed this year a little bit, and I think camp has gotten a little tougher, but I think the first 3 years was kind of like Camp Cream Puff there in Miami, and the inmates ran the asylum. I think Jalen Ramsey consistently was late to meetings and had no respect for the coach. Tyreek missed a practice last year and he was sick, but he was at his mall selling his Soul Runner gear, apparently. So it's like that stuff doesn't happen when you have a good coach. And look at the Bills, right? McDermott. Look at the Ravens, Harbaugh. Look at the team that consistently wins, like the Steelers. They have Tomlin. The Chiefs, they have, Andy Reid. Like, the good teams have good coaches. And it's hard to run these young players because, you know what? Now they're coming into the league rich with NIL money, right? So you even have to be even more savvy than you used to be to do this. I think Mike McDaniel has his moments, and I can see why I at one point fell in love with him and our franchise did. But this is a results-based business, man. And if you're in here year 4 and you've paid your quarterback, you've paid Tyreek Hill and Waddle more money together than any receiver tandem's ever got in the NFL history, and you still don't have a playoff win, it's all just noise to me. And I am so tired of the noise, man. Like, I want what you said, Whittle, and I think they're starting to draft this way, a physical, tough football team. And the term to me is reset. I feel like they're trying to reset their salary cap, maybe not their roster right now, but no guaranteed money into 2026. If this team doesn't hit goals, I do think a year too late, but it will be wholesale changes. I think the coach and the quarterback will be gone. Chris Greer, man, that guy has every 4-leaf clover that is in Miami and every horseshoe. I don't hate the moves he makes as much. I think a good GM gets his coach, the ingredients to make, a Michelin star meal. Somebody's eventually got to cook that meal. And I think right now that is the Dolphins' biggest problem. And every coach they've had since Jimmy Johnson wants that. Philbin, Gase, Flores, they were first-time head coaches, not just at the pro level, at the collegiate level. And when you are coaching at that level, being a coach is a lot different, right, than being an offensive coordinator, being a defensive coordinator. And I'll be honest, I think the best coach on our roster is our defensive coordinator, Anthony Weaver. So that's a lot of shade at Mike McDaniel. And you know what, man? I hope more than anything that I get a big, fat crow sandwich that I have to eat, and I have no problem eating it. But you better damn serve it to me because I ain't giving you the benefit of the doubt anymore. That's where I am with them.
You know what the crazy part is about Miami? Why they're so interesting? Well, I'll just interject real quick here. There's so many things going on, right? Like, I feel bad for Mike McDaniel for this reason. He needed this draft 2 years ago, right? This kind of draft. But one of my best friends is a Dolphin fan. He says, "How do you feel about their draft?" I said, "For the first time, Miami had a non-quote sexy draft, and it worked. Like, where has this been for your team for so long, right? This are the things, like you said, that I think why you play us tough. Like our second matchup last year, you guys played very, very well in that game, by the way. I know we talk a lot about the first game, but that second game, I remember we did our space after that game. And I remember the Dolphins played really, really high level football that game. So you see the talents there, right? But then you have this mess with McDaniel and the uncertainty. But I guess the good news is, like you said, maybe it gets a little worse before it gets better, but at least they're setting themselves up for success going down the line.
Right. And you got to see it and it's got to happen. But the one thing is, a lot of people in my fan base, and there's a lot of good people out there, but they get frustrated when I say what I kind of said on the show. But the reality of it is my opinion, none of that impacts what the record is and what it says on scoreboards. And for me, even a hollow playoff appearance means very little. It like making a wild card just to go up and get stomped by Baltimore, that would not be fun. Like it's one of those things for me that I want this team to be the kind of team that's built tough where they can kind of catch you off guard. And they were heading in that way when we lost to you guys with Skylar Thompson in the one playoff game. But that was a team that I thought was like fighting, clawing, and scratching and playing with some fire. And, I do think last year, and, when things go, your quarterback misses 6.5 games. Like, I don't care who you are. Like, when you're trotting in like people like Tyler Huntley and Skylar, it's hard to take yourself as serious as you do when, you have your starter. But that's the thing. Like, sometimes you can give people a mulligan for an injury or something like that. But when it's happened for the last 5 years, like that to me is where it's like that is a trend you cannot ignore anymore. And you paid him. And look, I like Tua. And the reality of it is I think he's probably the 12th or 13th best quarterback in football when healthy. I think he's probably the third best quarterback in our franchise history behind Marino and Greasy, right? Like if you look at it, but like, man, to me, when those injuries start to pile up, and it's not just the concussions, it was a finger, it was a hip. It's been a lot of little things. And the reason I think that hip injury that hit him in college was a lot more severe than we think because he lost that wiggle. I saw more wiggle out of him season 1, that Arizona game where he went toe-to-toe with Tyler. That's where I was like, holy crap, we finally got the guy. And I have not seen that same type of player. The player I see, like, you got to love. He puts his head down and tries to run over people to get first downs. But, like, you got to know your body. And is that first down worth no Tua Tagovailoa for 6.5 games? Because when you look at it in hindsight, the people that are like, you're crazy, you're too negative, their argument is we won 9-8 without Tua Tagovailoa for 6.5 games last year. You know what?
Yep.
I think we win 2 of those games probably. Like, so, yeah, like I get it's glass half full versus glass half empty.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm being a little more pessimistic this year with reverse psychology. I don't know. But, like, it is funny. when Whittle's higher than the Dolphins than me, though, it's like, God, something's been my drink's been spiked or something.
We're in alternate reality right now, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, no, I just value, I value the trenches, especially what you guys did on the defensive line. I can't get past that. You just like last year, you just had Chop and Sealer and some other guys that were there, but nothing really surrounding those guys, and they played well. Then you go out and surround those guys. Like obviously, you brought back Chubb and Phillips come back from injury, but then you bring Judon on as well, and like Brian will Beyond will tell you, I was a big sign Judon this offseason guy for the Buffalo Bills. I thought I said, look, we can probably get him for $5 or $6 million. He's 2 years, this is year 2 removed from that injury. I think he's going to have a good year. And then he signs with the Dolphins. So I just think you surrounded your core guys with the right pieces. Not to mention, I think your linebacking group is underrated. Yes, I agree. Corners, Russell Douglas did not play well for us. Clearly lost a step last year. Jack Jones,
gambler. He's a gambler. It's jamming, right?
Yep. And I like Juju Brents. And I thought Storm Duck played well for you guys when he got the opportunity last year. I thought he went out there and looked like an NFL corner. So I'm not as low on your secondary. I do think it's the worst in the division, but
corner for sure.
It's not the worst. Sure. Yeah, it's not the worst in the conference.
No,
I think the defense as a whole. I think the Dolphins have a very underrated defense, and I believe that they're going to catch a lot of teams off guard, especially over the first 2 months of the season. Like I really could see the Dolphins being like 5-3 going into the second half of the season, and then and then it's like, all right, well, now it's like, well, can you win cold weather games? Well, yeah, because now we have the guys up front that can stop the run, and we can also run the football. So I think the Dolphins are built to play better later in the season. But like you say, Mike McDaniel's got to get out of his own way. Just keep feeding the running back when it's working.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
you,
You don't
third
have.
and one, don't complicate this. It's third and two. Don't complicate it. Ollie Gordon comes in, A-Chain's going in motion. He's gonna pull a linebacker or a safety, and then we're just gonna run it to wherever the box count favors us. And that's that.
Yeah.
It's not that hard.
The goal
Mhm.
line fades that Tyreek Hill probably shouldn't be called in the red zone, right? Like, it's like, and look, the quarterback, like we signed Zach Wilson, and like, usually you like to see a recycled young quarterback, right? He was a number 2 overall pick, but like what I will say is he has no ability to process in this offense at all. I
No.
mean,
Yeah.
he is. If Tua missed time, I think Quinn Ewers gives him a better chance to win than Zach Wilson. And it wasn't
Yeah.
insignificant. I mean,
That's
they
saying a
gave
lot.
him, yeah, they gave him, I mean, they voided one of the years to strike it over 2 years, but they gave Zach Wilson $6 million to come here and be the backup. And it was Mike McDaniel's guy that he hand chosen because, the traits were there, but man, it's not clicking up in the head. I mean, I wouldn't say he was horrendous you look at the box score of the preseason, but man, he was so late on so many throws, and he might have a cannon for an arm, but man, he underthrew people because he just does not have time and rhythm down. And this offense is all predicated off of the ability to throw with timing and rhythm. Zach Wilson has been a complete, in my opinion, dud as a backup to this quarterback. And that's where, again, if Tua can stay healthy, it wouldn't even surprise me if the Dolphins could be the 5th, 4th, maybe kind of team in this AFC and catch people.
Yeah.
But I will say this. I still think there's a big gap between the big 3 in the conference and them. And it to me, it is because of the quarterback position. Mahomes, Lamar, and Josh Allen are the 3 best players in football right now. And I don't think it's really close. And, Josh Allen could put a cape on out of the phone booth and come in, be Superman, and win his team a game. And, in my rankings of the quarterbacks, like I'm not afraid to say someone's better than Pat Mahomes now because, well, Mahomes has had the better career than all of them. I'm living in today, right? And I still think Mahomes is a smart, good quarterback, but I've watched Jalen Hurts outplay him in 2 Super Bowls now, right? And
Yep.
Lamar is awesome, and I was dead wrong on Lamar because he continues to evolve as a passer. 41 touchdowns, 4 picks last year, but man, he has a lot more support around him in Baltimore than Josh Allen has in Buffalo. Derrick Henry. I'm sure you would sign up to have Zay Flowers on your team tomorrow, right? Isaiah Likely and Mark Andrews is a 2-headed monster at tight end. I mean, Baltimore, soup to nuts, has probably one of the best coaching staffs in football. And that defense is a quarterback's best friend, right? So it's like, to me, when you look at it, like you guys, and I'm not afraid to say this because we're division rivals. Josh Allen, to me, right now, is the best player in football. And, it's one of those things that I think the AFC Championship is going to be a Lamar-Josh Allen showdown. Again, I think that's where we're heading. And
AFC Championship?
I think that's where we're heading. Yeah, I think we're heading there.
Okay.
Like, I don't believe in the drastic downfall of the Chiefs. I don't.
Right.
But I think that you don't have to have a drastic downfall to fall to the 3rd team in this division. And they still have Mahomes, but I don't think Kelsey's the guy that he was 3 years ago. I mean, their running game is their running game. It's okay. But I just think it's one of those things that right now the momentum's the Ravens and Bills side. And I'll be honest, you probably with me, it doesn't even matter to me week 1. That's fun. It's an awesome Sunday night game to kick it off. Playoff football is different, man. The Ravens could beat the Bills by 30 points in that game, and it wouldn't mean anything to me because when it's the playoffs, different things happen. And for whatever reason, the Ravens don't turn the ball over at all during the regular season. But over the last few years, when it's been the playoffs, there's been some turnovers. And I haven't seen your quarterback do the same. And that's where it's, to me, I think the Eagles are definitely coming out of the NFC, right? Like they're loaded. The Lions, I think they're their best competition. Oh, uh-oh.
No, I agree with you, Neil, but I know Whittle's going to disagree on this.
I got a different NFC winner.
So we preview that for next week, Whittle?
I'll let you save it.
No one say it now.
Go for it.
I think it's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers winning the NFC.
Well, it's funny.
I think it's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers winning.
I think that honestly, if I had to do like my break, I'd have them as the 2 or 3 seed in the NFC. I don't think it's too crazy. I think they are well coached. I think Baker Mayfield is probably the most underrated quarterback in the league right now. I mean, Baker is awesome, and I've always liked Baker.
Yep.
It's good to see him flourish. Emeka Egbuka, adding him to Godwin and Evans is awesome, and the tandem of Rashad
and the tight
White,
end Kate Otten, like they're loaded. They're loaded,
and they're well coached. And to be honest, like they also don't have to go to the murderer's row like a lot of the other teams do. I mean, like
NFC South, yeah.
The Saints are going to be drafted number 1, right? The Falcons, like I think they have talent, man. I actually am a Michael Penix fan, so I'm pulling for him. But like, I don't know. I got him and JJ McCarthy. I got to see it. And then you look at like
they may have the smallest defensive tackles in the NFL, the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah,
they're going to get run on. They're going to get run on all day long. Yeah,
and the Panthers, I think they're going to be a tough out, but I also think it's a year too soon to anoint them. I actually think they're kind of
Canales though. I like Canales.
They're like the Patriots of the AFC to me, teams that are on the rise a little bit, but like it's just not yet. So I think the Bucs win comfortably. That's cool. I will say that as a Dolphins fan and not really caring about the NFC, I watch it, but like Baker would be a cool story to see, and he kind of deserves it. And it's funny the Browns kick him to the curb, but he's the guy that wins a playoff game for them. And now look
I'm gonna be honest. The only reason I have Tampa Bay Buccaneers was there were 2 draft picks. Well, there were 3 draft picks that pushed me towards the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I know that's not like on schedule of what we're talking about, but they had issues at corner, I thought, last year, and they addressed that with Benjamin Morrison, who
Notre Dame. Yep.
Listen. You go back and watch his 2023. Noted. Oh my! Listen.
I mean, look, before his injury, he was mocked in the top 15 of almost any mock draft you would see.
I think before the injury, injury aside, he's better than Will Howard. I think he's the best. I think he would have been the best corner in this draft. I think he's better. I think no injury. I think very highly of Benjamin Morrison. Then they got Jacob Parrish, who's an excellent slot corner. And like you said, adding Ibuka is. I mean, it's a cheat code. They already
He's NFL ready. He's NFL ready.
Yes.
Brian Hartline gets his guys ready.
And they can already run the football with multiple running backs. They've got a really good offensive line when it's healthy. They can get after the quarterback. They added the kid from SMU. Elijah Roberts to their defensive line, and he's an absolute mauler at the defensive end position. Vita Vea is a force. Elijah Cansey's starting to hit his groove now. Like they are, I just think the team is loaded, man. I think they're loaded, and they're the only team that consistently punches Philly in the mouth. That's the only team. So that's why I got them.
That's not easy to get.
I'll tell you what, Whittle, that's a good take because I will say, like, I'm on record to say this. I said I'd be floored if it wasn't for me. Eagles, Ravens, Chiefs, or Bills. If one of those 4 teams didn't win the Super Bowl, I'd be floored. But that would be good parity to see a team like Baker, like I've always been a big Mike Evans fan, man. I love Mike Evans. He's like, if I'm in a fantasy football league, I always try to get Mike Evans. I feel like it doesn't matter. He's going to get you what he's going to get you every year. But yeah, man, they're going to be a tough out. And they're another team in that division that could, I mean, you like some of these divisions, I think you're going to see teams win by quite a few games. And that is one where they could win that division by 4 games and it wouldn't surprise me.
Yep. 100%.
You guys are not Lions believers? No Lions believers in the room here? You think that losing the coordinators
they had to stop, but I think and I like Dan Campbell, man. He makes you want to run through a wall. I feel like they had the Niners on the ropes. That one was it the Niners? Yeah, the Niners on the ropes.
2 years ago,
and he made some question it in those calls, and like I think they're going to have to live that down. And as good as Jared Goff's been, I mean, because they're St. Brown and Gibbs and Laporta, they have talent on offense. Montgomery. I think Jared Goff's just one of those quarterbacks that just get you so far. And I think they drafted a guy like Hendon Hooker to see if they could get lightning in a bottle with a player like that. And
that didn't work. Yeah.
Surprised he was cut. Was surprised he was cut though. I was a little wrecked by that, but
it wouldn't. Not me.
Not next year. not next year, but the year after, it wouldn't surprise me if the Lions were one of those teams that sneaky in the quarterback market in the draft, and get someone over Goff's shoulder.
It's
Yeah,
not a bad,
yeah.
it's not a bad thought.
I think that's the direction they're heading. One of the moves that I saw that was pretty surprising. They traded Tim Patrick, and I
Yeah,
thought,
to Jacksonville.
when they did that, it said to me because I know they drafted Isaac Tisler from Arkansas, and I loved him coming out.
Mhm.
Like I was like, this is another guy the Bills like gotta get. He should be there in the fourth round. Oh, Detroit took him in the second. Great. All right, fine. When they traded Patrick, I said, okay, so they're paying Jamison Williams then. They're paying him. There's no reason to trade Patrick. You slide Tisla into the Patrick role, which is, he plays he between the boundary and the slot whenever they want to move St. Brown around. And I don't think they're gonna pay Montgomery again. I think they're just gonna, they're gonna pay Gibbs. They're gonna pay Hutchinson, and they're gonna work this thing through the draft. And I think that that's the right way to do it. I
Sure.
would not let Jameson walk out of that building. Like he's too fast. He tracks the ball too well, and we see fast guys every single year come out of the draft, and they can't catch. They can't track the football down the field. This guy can do both, and he's a competitor.
Yeah.
Keep him. Like I agree.
He's going to have a good year. He stays healthy. He's going to have a big year. I mean, you saw it at the end of last year too, man. I mean, his game break, his football. It's not just his speed; it's football speed. Like he has that gear that separates the fast guys from the really, really fast guys. And I mean, that offense has explosive potential. I mean, you look at it, and they have Penei Sewell, like right. They have one of the best offensive linemen in football.
One of the best offensive linemen, even without Ragnow, even without. They drafted around that, or they drafted around that already, and they've already filled that hole. Like Brad Holmes is a great GM.
Great
GM.
GM.
When you said it, like I was trying to figure out, like, if they're gonna pay him, where are they gonna find the money to continue to be competitive? It's Golf is gone, and they're gonna draft a rookie quarterback, and they're gonna probably sell their soul and burn as many draft picks as possible, and they're gonna go get their guy, and they're gonna be great. They're gonna be great.
Right. Yeah, like Goff reminds me, he's an upper echelon of this player, but it reminds me a lot of Alex Smith in Kansas City before they got
that's a good comparison.
He's good, and they'll still give him that year and let the young guy hold his clipboard. But if Goff went down with an injury and they had to put him in late in a game, like if this guy could find lightning in a bottle, I think they would run with it. And I just think that's where they're heading. And because, like you said, they've drafted so well. Jack Campbell is another guy that I liked a lot coming out of the draft out of Iowa.
I think Whittle's a big fan.
I think they did a great job. Like the Lions are the team in football that draft the guys that I want the most usually. Like I sit there and I'm like, damn, they did it again. Damn, they did it again. Right? Like I'm like,
Williams. Yeah.
You got to pay those guys eventually. And a quarterback reset sometimes is the way that you find the funds to do it. So I think that could be something that's
an interesting take. And it makes sense.
I like the Lions.
Talk about it.
They're a playoff team to me. I saw a lot of people saying that, they're not going to make. I don't see how they don't make the NFC.
I think they're still going to.
The only way they're going to win that division is if the Packers trade for Michael Parsons. Like outside of that,
which might I honestly, him sleeping on that bench. I mean, man, I thought it was a pipe dream. What I've learned, like nothing is untouchable in the NFL these days.
And only quarterbacks. Let me ask you, only elite quarterbacks. That's it.
Yeah,
Neil. Let me ask you, as a Miami fan, if you were the Buffalo Bills, would you trade for Micah Parsons?
100%. I mean, look, I'll be honest. I'm worried about that. I think the Bills would make a lot of sense for him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, the way I look at the Bills is that they've drafted really good football players, but the heartbeat of that organization on that football field is Josh Allen. They have a good receiving core, but they don't need to go out there and find the alpha, right? They can get by. They get good savvy deals done with players like Khalil Shakir. Like, they got the deal done with James Cook. They have ample weapons for Josh Allen to do what he does. Great continuity along the offensive line. What I think they would need, if I was like looking at and saying, okay, if they play Kansas City in another AFC championship, what could be the difference? it'd be a guy like Micah Parsons. I think that could be a little bit different. I know they picked up Joey Bosa. I don't know how he's looked, but to me, if you have Russo on one side and Michael on the other side, I mean, like, and I know I've seen that has been hinted that the Bills could be interested in him, right? But like, you can finagle contracts in today's NFL where you're paying a lot of guaranteed money in bonus form and you're getting the cap hit extrapolated over years, void years. Like, you could get creative. So like the $45 million price tag is what it is. But I tell people this every time I see a contract. The only thing that matters is the guaranteed money and how it is shaped over the tenure of the contract. $250 million contracts don't matter if 50 are guaranteed. It's all about the guaranteed money. Everything else is just fluff because teams are savvy enough to find their way to navigate around that money and release players when they have to. I would think that if you were the Buffalo Bills and you're in the window they're in, that's a move that I would explore. I mean, it's a move that I would, if they are going to say, hey, I'm going to trade them, because I would say this, they much rather probably trade them out of the conference than in.
Yep. That's true.
Yeah. If I'm gonna be honest, if I'm the Bills, I'm not doing it. If I do, if the Bills were to do it, he's got to come off the line of scrimmage.
Right.
I can't play him completely at defensive end for 3 down. Like, I can't have him as a 3 down defensive end. We played Dallas with him on the edge, and when I tell you we ran at him and we combo and duoed him to death, it was rough. It was a rough watch because I like Micah a lot,
Right.
but I mean, there was nothing he could do. I mean, they just put big men on him, and he couldn't do anything about it. So
Isn't
we
that
just
the
ran
knock
right
on
at
him,
him.
though? I've heard the knock on him from Cowboys fans is that he has a tendency to disappear in some of the bigger moments. And, that if that's the case, I don't follow the Cowboys that tough. I just know whenever I see a primetime game and Micah Parsons on there, I watch number 11 and I see him making plays.
Yeah.
But it's funny because in a Dolphin space that I was in, they asked me, like, would you trade Micah or would you get rid of Chop Robinson to acquire Micah Parsons? And from a football standpoint, the answer is, yeah, I think Micah's a better player, but I'm intrigued by the upside of a guy like Chop with a $39 million difference in pay, right? Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Because you're paying a 15th quarterback money in the league for a pass rusher. And, when you got one on a rookie deal, like, it's hard to pay that type of money on a defense line. Like, Myles Garrett, as good as he was, I'll be honest, I thought he was going to be a Buffalo Bill. I really, really did. And the Browns ponied up and paid him. But, like, look at their team now. It's Myles Garrett and a bunch of anything else.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yep.
Pretty much. All right, Neil. So I know this tends to happen when we have what I consider ball knowers on the pod.
Yes.
We could go for
Great.
hours, bro. I mean, I could go for hours talking about football with people who know what they're talking about. But yeah, I want to get back to the Dolphins. I agree that Chop is a talent. I was a little off on the way Chop kind of acted during the draft process. I was like, oh, this guy seems a little arrogant. And then he got on the field, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, he's arrogant for a reason because he's good. I thought he gave Deion Dawkins and Spencer. I thought he gave that offensive line hell in the second game last year.
Right.
He is 100% a double-digit sack guy. And I think you have 4 guys who are capable of being double-digit sack guys. And we have none, right? We have none. You guys have 4 of them.
Maybe Bosa, if healthy.
I know you're lower on them. But, like, looking at the schedule, you guys are playing the second-place schedule. You're also playing the South. The NFC South. So I just don't I find it hard to believe that the Dolphins can't get 11 games. I don't.
Okay.
I mean, that's where I'm at. Like I have you guys at 11-6.
I'll say this: when you look at their schedule, it was really hard for me not to get to the 10 wins, and I fell back in the 9. And the reason why was I usually give them a game benefit of the doubt, being optimistic, and I kind of like did the opposite this year. But when you look at their schedule, I think you're 100% right. Like there are a lot of winnable games, especially in that first half of that season. And like again, like if this team figures out how to be a football team, they really have figured a way to get tougher. They really have eliminated some of the distractions that they've had, right? Like they've had defensive back rooms that love to go down to the strip clubs in Miami and be late to practice. That's been there for a long time. So it's one of those things to me. It's like, if they won 11 games, I'd be pleasantly surprised, but I agree with you that there is a path for them to get there and got to stay healthy, right? But the talent, I think, on this roster, it's not as big of a jump off as it was from like I think they might have overall more talent on their roster this year, despite not having Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah.
And like I don't want to crap on Jalen Ramsey because I still think he's a good football player, but we never saw the Jalen Ramsey that was playing for the Jacksonville Jags or in that Super Bowl run for the Rams. We never had that version of him. He made some good plays. He helped us out win a one Raiders game. I mean, you got to remember, he came and he was hurt for the first half of that first season. He tore his ACL in camp and he had a miss and he came back and it was a big jump start. But like, we never had the version of him that was like the gold jacket potential type of player. So as much as the cornerback room is an area of concern for me, it's not like if we would have kept Cater Coe and he didn't get hurt, I'd have been like, damn, okay, we're all right. It's one of those things, but like, yeah, man, I think they could win. And you think about it, like you said this, I agree. They're the second best team in this division. And I think it's probably the Patriots a third. And, you know, our buddy PD won't like this, but I think the Jets are going to be in the basement again. But I think they're going to be a tough out. And I like Aaron Glenn, and I think Aaron Glenn's going to be more what they thought they had with Robert Saleh. But I do think that they're going to be in striking distance. And the guy that I don't want them to get is Lenore Sellers. So I want them to win enough games to be out of the top 5 and not get
7 and 10.
Yeah,
7 and 10. How's that sound, right?
And I'm sure I'll hear about that in the morning. But
I think we all are going to hear about
probably.
it.
Yeah, I saw a video. Somebody posted a video with Lenore Sellers to a 60-yard ball to Nick Harbor. 60-yard ball in stride. He did
insane.
Not slow down to catch the football. It's unreal. It's unreal.
Everyone's talking Archman, and they're talking about the wrong quarterback, in my opinion.
I agree.
I think Sellers is
Sellers
is draft class.
Yeah. I'm not high on Nussmeier. I'm not high on Beck. I'm not high on the kid Allard. I'm
a Penn State guy, and I'm not high on Aller. No.
This kid Lenore Sellers, I think he's going to be a problem. And then the other guy I like a lot is the kid at Arizona State, Sam Levitt.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if he's eligible to come out, but I like him a lot.
He's eligible, but he's got eligibility left to stay as well. I think he has he can come out, but I think he has another year or maybe 2 years of eligibility.
Yeah, he puts together a strong campaign. He put together a strong year this year. I think he's a first-round draft pick. He fared very well against Texas last year, and that's what stood out to me. So if he puts together a strong year, no Cam Scatterable, I think he's a first-round draft pick, 100%. 100%.
For sure.
Okay, I got a couple of tough questions.
Let's go.
The Miami Dolphins win 11 games, go to the playoffs, lose by 3 touchdowns. Does Mike McDaniel get fired?
Yes.
Okay.
My opinion, he has to win a playoff game to stay his job. That's my opinion. I don't know if that's factual, but I'll say this. I think they held on to him for another year because I think there can be a potential Hall of Fame coach that becomes available. And the guy that I think could come available, if what I'm predicting happens, and I don't want to get blown up in spaces, but if Aaron Rodgers sabotages the Steelers, I don't think it's going to be the Steelers' decision. I think Mike Tomlin's going to find a way out.
Okay. All right.
That's my hot take of the season. I think Aaron Rodgers is kryptonite to franchises now, and I think the Steelers are next on the list.
We'll see. I mean, listen, that could either go really, really great or really, really terribly with him and DK Metcalf there. Like those are some interesting personalities. I like their chances to be a playoff team. I think they're very good, but it could go the other way. Let me ask. All right, next tough question. Does Tyreek Hill make it through an entire season wearing a Dolphins uniform this year? And are you better if he does or worse if he does?
That is a good question because I do think so. And the reason I think he makes it through is because I think the Dolphins are going to win enough games in the first half of the year that they're not going to trade him. And that contract, I think that there was discussions about it, but the contract is just too much for teams to take on, right? The thing I will say that's going to sound crazy because I still think Tyreek Hill is the best player on the Dolphins. And he had 900 yards last year with one wrist and a quarterback missing 6.5 games. Tyreek, what I've seen of him in Miami, he's the best player I've seen since Dan Marino, and it's and the only guy who's in the same wavelength was Ricky Williams for those 2 years in 2002, 2003. Mm-hmm. Ever since then, I mean, Tyreek has been amazing. I will say this: I think the Dolphins are a better football team without him for this reason. You take that $50 million and you apply that to the trenches, and you find a receiver that complements Jalen Waddle versus repeats him. They're speed receivers. They do a lot of the same things. It's awesome when you're playing bad secondaries and bad coach teams and you can run all over them. The smart ones know how to slow them down. You jam them. You don't let them off, get free releases. My dream is that they find a player that's a guy like a Mike Evans, a guy that can win a contested catch, that's a savvy route runner, that can keep moving the chains. Because what I think their offense has become is that Tua can put up gaudy stats, feast and famine, big plays. But what we need to do is sustain football drives. Let the clock be on our favor. I think we try, honestly, I think Mike McDaniel definitely compliments Tua Tagovailoa and helps him be very productive. But sometimes I feel like we're too pass happy. And one of the reasons I think he takes too many hits is that we're passing the ball way more than we should. You said this earlier. We need to run the football a lot more. So, I think they're actually a better team without Tyreek Hill. He's been nothing but, from a football player perspective, everything you asked for what you traded, you got your value, but everything has an expiration date, right? And I just think that relationship has reached that date.
Mm-hmm.
Last tough question. Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb are nearing the end of their deals.
Right.
You're not going to be able to keep them both.
Nope.
Which one you going to keep?
I'll be honest. I honestly think that we're not going to keep either. And unfortunately, if we keep one, I think it's going to be Bradley Chubb. I mean, the Dolphins for 3 years in a row. I mean, in 2 years, they lost Christian Wilkins because of the contract. It wasn't because he wasn't a good player and he wanted to be in Miami. And I'll be honest, little news, I think Christian Wilkins, if the Dolphins are a good team, could be on this team for the back half of the football season. So that's one thing that I've heard. But they couldn't afford that contract at the time, so they moved on. I don't think Javon Holland was as bad as people thought. I thought he had a bad year, but he's been a very good safety that was ascendant player they had to move on from him, right? You nailed this. I think as good as Chop Robinson is, another guy that's going to have a big season playing across from him is going to be Jalen Phillips. And if the guy stays healthy when he plays football, and where I gained all my respect for him was that playoff game that we played you guys tough with Skylar Thompson, it was Zach Sealer and Jalen Phillips carrying that load, right? I think Phillips is a guy that's going to have a good season, and we know how stupid free agent money is. They can tag him, but the Dolphins are in a tough position to tag because let's say Tua Tagovailoa doesn't pan out this year. There's
a lot of dead money. Yeah,
you're not going to restructure them to save 30. You're going to cut they don't have the cap allocation to really afford to keep them, which sucks to me because I think Jalen Phillips could be the nucleus of a great defense and teams. I'm sure the Buffalo Bills would have a lot of interest in a guy that they've played against that's shown that type of potential. If he hits the market, he's gone. Like, that's the way I see. So I think it's more likely that Chubb, because of we have Chubb under contract, I think, for like $12 million next year. I think Phillips is going to hit. I mean, look, I know I think he can get close to $20 million on the open market per season.
Oh, more than that.
Maybe 25.
He's got. He's got. I know he doesn't have the game. I know he doesn't have the game consistency that a guy like Rousseau. Rousseau got 20, and Philip, like Saxons will get defensive ends paid, and also Phillips is a plus level run defender as well. I don't know. I don't know if he's as good as Rousseau is, but like he can hold his own, setting the edge and really being a really good run defender. I like Phillips a lot. I would love to allocate $25 million and say, hey, how would you like to come to Buffalo and play with your college teammate on the opposite side and let's go win a ring? But man, he's going to
would
make
hurt if he left.
25.
That would hurt me if he left. Like, no doubt about it. Like, I'll be honest, I was at a place with Christian Wiggles where I liked the player. I think they bet on the right horse with Zach Sealer. It's not my money. It's easy to say how to spend your money, right? If he stays healthy this whole year and puts up the production that I think he can, I think you got to find pennies under your couch if you need to keep a guy like him around.
Yeah. And you know what? If you guys get to a playoff game and it's competitive or you win, I mean, that's something that you could, because like the one thing I like to do when I watch these games, especially like the preseason, is I watch the actual starters, the actual guys that are going to play when the season starts. What do they look like on the sideline?
Right.
And Miami sideline, like these guys are cheering on the guys they know are going to get cut, and they're talking to each other. And it's not just like normal, we're teammates, but you genuinely see Chubb, Phillips, Jude, like these guys like each other.
Right.
They like being, and I think they understand that when all of them are together, they're all going to be better players. They may not all get the numbers, they may not all receive the accolades, but they're going to be collectively a great group, a tough group to stop. So I mean, that the free agency is when you really find out what type of a player you have. Do you have a player that's a me guy or a team guy? And you're going to find out. I like Phillips a lot. I hope he leaves, but I have a feeling he stays.
Well, I'll say this, man. It's funny because I know Jalen Ramsey was happy to get out of Miami. A lot of those guys, Sealer, Phillips, Chubb, I think they were really happy to see Jalen Ramsey leave Miami. I think there was a disconnect between certain players in the locker room, and you'll see certain young players like Cam Smith, who I mentioned earlier, really being a duck out of water in Miami right now. And I think that's because those alliances were different. And you know how that NFL, it's sacred in there, man. It's different. And when it's a real brotherhood, it's a real brotherhood. When it's fake, you can see it on the football fields on Sunday. I do think that the Dolphins seem to be a tighter unit than they were last year, but I always lived my whole life by the old Mike Tyson adage. Everyone's got a plan till you get punched in the face. I want to see them maintain that through adversity. And when things get tough, I want to see them come together and overcome some of those things. So, like, it's funny. Like I said, week 3, they got to prove me against the Buffalo Bills. I mean, that's a tall task to beat. That's one of the 3 best teams in football, right? So, it's not always the win and loss in the score. That's not like I want to see them go. And when Buffalo punches them, they fight back, right? Like, and we've seen them have a couple of those instances over the last couple of years, but it's not consistent, right? And that's what I want to see, is that they're not afraid to go toe-to-toe, and we'll see. But I think that's a really good point by you, because it is that video that went viral of the Phillips and Chubb like jumping out of their seat when McClendon got a sack. It was good, and I was just like, man, you be careful, Phillips, man. You've been on the IR 2 seasons in a row.
Right.
Don't pull a Grammatico on me out there.
Right. Yeah. All right. So, last question. Neil, I'm gonna let you. We're gonna let you get out of here. I'm gonna ask you for your I'm gonna ask you for some predictions. Division winners, playoff teams, championship game, or not championship game, but Super Bowl teams, and your MVP.
Okay, I got it. So division winners, I'll go from the AFC. I think Buffalo is going to win their division. I think Kansas City's going to win it. I think Houston wins it, and I think Baltimore wins it. I think the Eagles win it. I think Lions win it. I think Bucks win it. Rams, I'm actually going to go with the Niners. I think the Niners are going to beat the Rams. And I like the Rams defensive line. I have a feeling that we're going to start to see the beginning of the end of Matt Stafford there. I just do. I think the injuries, and I love him, by the way. I think he's a warrior. So playoff team, the championship, I think it's going to be Buffalo and Baltimore in the AFC, and I think it's going to be Philly and Detroit. Man, this is where you guys are going to hate me. I have an Eagles-Ravens Super Bowl, and I actually think the Ravens are going to win it because when they get there, they're always prepared for it. I just believe this is the year that it actually clicks, and why I give them. I just think that draft class with Mike Green and Malachi Starks on a defense that was already really good. Now, would it surprise me if it was Buffalo that beat them? No, not at all. I think Josh Allen has their number. So MVP of the league to me, I was going to say Joe Burrow, honestly, before I saw the preseason. And I was just like, man, like if Joe Burrow makes it through the season, they should put him in Canton. You know what? I'm going to say it's going to be Jaden Daniels. I think Jaden Daniels is going to be the MVP. And I'll say this. I really think it's a battle between Allen and Lamar again, probably. But I don't want to take the lap. I'll go and take a risk and say Jaden Daniels. Look, if you can score 45 total touchdowns at the quarterback position or more, you're in it. And the only guy that I think can do it to the level of Lamar and Josh Allen is Jaden Daniels. Now, I say that the Commanders are a team to me that could have a very steep drop-off. And sophomore slump is a really big thing. So, I'm not a confident guess in that. But I'll tell you, man, every year when I think the MVP is chalk, something crazy happens and makes me look like an idiot. So
I got a dark horse for the MVP.
I want to hear it.
Baker Mayfield, man. Like, come on. I
would
think
love
Baker's
it.
going to put up, like last year, Baker put up numbers. I think Baker's going to have a great year. I think Mike Evans is going to be healthy. I think Godwin's going to be healthy because I think Ibuka's going to get a lot more work. I think Kate Otton's going to get a lot more work. And I believe in Morrison and Parrish, man. I think that defense is going to be stingy. I'm telling you, man. I got the Bucks, man. I got the Bucks.
I like it. No,
stock in the world, bro.
I've always, it's funny. I've always liked watching the Bucks. I don't know why. I've always liked them. I don't know if I always thought their stadium was an awesome stadium. I've always liked, the creamsicle jerseys back in the old Doug Williams days, and I've always liked the Bucks, and I think it's cool to see them kind of be a team that, they fall through some bad quarterback drafts as well. Josh Freeman, all that, to get Baker Mayfield the way they did as he kind of got recycled in the league and see him. I mean, Baker Mayfield's a top 10 quarterback in this league, man. I don't care who has a list. If he's not up there, I don't agree with it.
Yeah,
I'm going for MVP. I'm going to go with something that will drive certain fan base out of their mind. 2-time defending MVP will be Joshua Patrick Allen.
Oh, there you go.
Once again. Now, I'm not giving away a Super Bowl pick yet, but I'm just saying I'm going to go with what Neil said, best player in the league. I'm going to go. I think Josh could be even better this year. So I think he's got a great chance to win it again.
Look, it's got to be exciting to have Josh Allen, right? There's no doubt about it. Here's the thing. All these predictions and everything, what I think is amazing, and I was watching the broadcast when the Ravens had a preseason game, and it was talking about the Buffalo Bills in week 1 against the Ravens, and it was Tony Dungy, I believe, who said it. He's like, yeah, it's going to be a good kind of opening Sunday night football game. And these teams are going to feel each other out because they both know that they're going to be there when the season ends. That has to be a good feeling. And Whittle, I know you've been a life longer, and it's nice to meet you. And I know you've been a life longer, but it's you went through some dark days before this all happened.
Oh, right? you better believe we did.
And that's what I tell everyone. Once you find out the quarterback position, all those other needs don't look as big anymore. And NFL becomes very, very simple. Keep my quarterback upright. Don't let him get hit. Give them some weapons to make plays. Let's ride. That's it, right? And I think the Bills are there. And, it's funny, man. Josh didn't come out right out of the gates year 1, and it was the Josh Allen. And, I have a couple friends that are big Buffalo Bills fan. We drafted the wrong quarterback. I heard it, right? and it's funny now. I watch them, and they're the biggest Josh Allen fans, and it's like just a little bit of patience, man, goes a long way.
Yeah.
But like, it's funny because we're division rivals. Kelly ruined my childhood as a Marino Dolphins fan, but like, I have a lot of respect for Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. Like for me, like it's funny. Like, sure, I want to beat you on Sunday, but like, it's not one of those things. Like, I don't like the Jets. I'm not going to hold any punches about it. I don't like the Jets. Tom Brady and the Patriots took 2 decades of my life right away from me. But like, it's one of those things that, like, I'll be honest. Like, in this, Dolphins fans will tell me I'm an idiot. If they got there and they played the Eagles, I'd low key want the Bills to win, even though it's fun when we argue to say you don't have, like, I think that's what it's all about. Like, seeing it, like, and like Josh Allen to me does everything the right way on and off the field. And I think he's awesome. And like, I think it's good that you guys, I hate that he's in our division. I'm all about realignment. Put us with Jacksonville and some of those other teams.
You should be. Like, they should swap you guys in the Colts. That makes no sense.
Yeah, the Colts used to be in the AFC East.
Right. That it never made sense to me. Like, I'm like, they're not even from here. Like, they're not even from this climate.
It
like,
makes no sense.
Yeah.
But like,
I don't think the Bills or the Jets or New England want to give up that trip to Miami every year.
But
in November, December, nice place to go.
Good. I'm a Maryland guy. When they left the ACC basketball to go to the Big Ten, it doesn't feel the same to me. It just doesn't, right? Like, to lose that division at this point, I'm in it for the long haul. I've made it 36 years. I'll make it another 36 years, God willing, and win, lose, or draw. Yeah. I just want one ring, and I want to get buried in my Mitchell & Ness Aqua Dan Marino jersey, and that's all I want out of my life, and I'll be a happy
Listen, I'll tell you what, for those not old enough to know, Marino was that guy, that dude. I mean, he really was that. If he would have played now, he's the one guy I think from the past that I say, man, if he played now, you always do that, like, with his release, right? And if he
6,000 yards this season, bro.
Yeah, unbelievable. He was way ahead of his time when it came to those kind of metrics, those kind of things.
I mean,
incredible to watch.
He's my guy. He's my number 1 football player of all time. My number 2, Zach Thomas. But I love Marino. It kills me, and you can't go back in time and change it. The fact that he doesn't have a ring, it's my biggest travesty in my sports life. But it's all good. Life goes on. We all want one, right? We all want one of these in our lifetime.
That's right. That's right. I don't need 5. I don't need 10.
Keep Mahomes out of there.
I just want one period. I just want one period.
Remember LeBron says not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5. Remember the whole thing in Miami? No, I'm good.
I'm the same way. Not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5. One. Get one. One. Yeah.
Well, Whittle, at least you're a Celtics fan. I'm a Orioles fan, a Capitals fan, and a Washington Wizards fan. I will say, my sophomore year at Maryland, we won the Natty with Juan Dixon in basketball. That was awesome. I was there. The Caps got me my cup. Wizards aren't ever going to win in my lifetime. I'll give that one up. The Orioles had a couple playoff seasons. I think they'll be better next year. But man, my team don't do a lot of justice.
I'm a Sabre fan. Believe me, I know how.
Oh, there you go.
Be in the depths. But basketball, I think it's going to be a banner year, Whittle. I think I may go 2 for 2 this year. Knicks and St. John's.
The Knicks are not winning,
St. John's
bro.
in New York. Richard Pitino is taking St. John's. All right.
All right. Okay, we've entered the delusional part of the segment. There's no way. The Knicks are not winning, and neither is St. John's. Come on.
St. John's has a shot, I'm telling you right now. They do.
Felipe Lopez is not coming through those doors, okay? He's not walking through those doors.
I was in Lopez too. Yep. Oh man!
Wow.
Good stuff.
Yeah, man. No,
all right, Neil, man. Thank you.
I appreciate you guys having me, man. Good time.
Thanks for coming on. Appreciate it.
And I know that you're up in Jersey. I'm here in Maryland. Our paths will cross in person one of these days. You ever hear with that crazy dude Trippy? He's all.
Oh yeah, that's my guy, man.
Shout out to Trippy. Yeah, he's the best.
Shout out to Kicker, man. Yeah.
Oh man, I've seen.
Yeah, he's great.
Everywhere you go, man, you see the commotion, and he's right in the middle of that. I've seen a lot of games, man.
What I like about him is he talks the talk, but he even like last year when we lost playoff, he was right there front and center with us. Yeah, he's cool.
He was there. He was in Buffalo.
Yeah.
He was in Buffalo.
He was.
I hung out with him and his and some of his friends that the night before. So yeah, like he doesn't just talk it. He's
Yeah,
at these
he's
games.
there, win,
He's
lose, or
about
draw.
it.
You got to give him credit. And that's the
I
thing. You
respect
see all the BS on the timeline. You see all these wars. You see all these people that are troll. Like in this spaces, if you go in the right spaces, you meet some good people that have good conversation, man. And
Oh yeah,
I'm a guy that coaches sports, hangs out with my family. My days of running the bar scene's over. If I jump on spaces and talk football, that's a good time to me, man. So I really appreciate you guys having me. We'll do it again down the road, man. Good luck this season, except week 4 and the other week 3 and the other week. But no, we'll connect again. And thanks for having me, guys. You guys have a good one.
Absolutely, man. Thank you for coming again, Neil. Appreciate you.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll see you guys.
Take it easy, man.
All right, later.
That was a great spot.
All right. Yeah, that was great. I don't even want to talk Bills now. No, but we have to.
I do have to get out of here pretty soon tonight, but we could quickly go rapid fire if you had a couple thoughts on
so I just wanted to go over I mean, real quick, like the 53 is out, the practice squad is out. I'm gonna post the practice squad because there are a couple of names that I was surprised we didn't see here. So there's no Mike White. I was surprised for that.
Yep, me too.
Christian Wilkerson over, a Deion Kane or, some of the other, KJ Hamler was very surprising to me.
Yes.
Who else? There's one more. No Ufosio, who was a draft pick last year. Keontae Jenkins beat him out. I was shocked at that. And then I was also kind of surprised that Zy Alexander didn't get called back.
That was quick.
Yeah, because I thought he played well enough to. I thought he showed enough to at least get a practice squad spot where they could have worked with him. And like I said, he was one of my favorite draft guys because he was always around the ball, always in college, and I think that's something that you can't teach. That you have an innate ability to be where the ball is, and he has that. And I just thought that they would be able to get a guy like that into on a practice squad and then kind of cultivate it, and then you unleash him next year, maybe at safety, maybe at corner or whatever. But anyway, the 53 is set. No real surprises for me.
No real major.
I don't know. Yeah, me either. I mean, Shavers made it.
No.
Thank God he finally made the practice. Made the 53. I think he deserves it. He deserved it last year.
Absolutely,
he definitely showed it this year. So yeah, they kept now six receivers was a surprise to me, and they only kept I think six. I want to say it was six.
Six corners? Or
No,
defense,
six.
essentially?
Hold on, where are we at? Two.
Wait, Ben?
Yeah, six corners was. They usually keep six corners, but I don't really count.
Do you count Codrington? You don't count him.
Yeah, I don't really count Codrington. Like, so they really only kept five, and that to me was a little surprising because of the way that we've dealt with injuries, especially this offseason with Hairston going down and now Trey White kind of being iffy on whether or not he's going to be ready. But Codrington by far is the best returner we have on the team, and I'll take that. And when he did play this preseason, I said, he didn't look out of place like he did last year. What are your thoughts on the 53 and the?
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's sort of like I feel like it's 55 just because of Hoyt and Ogunjobi. We got to have them back. That's gonna be so interesting, Whittle, because we had our bye week right after their suspension is over. So that's gonna be interesting to see what Brandon Beans got cooking around that time, whether we have a trade or somebody gets released. So it sort of feels like that to me. So there really weren't any major surprises in that sense. I was a little surprised we didn't bring Hamler back on the practice squad. I don't even know if he's been picked up yet. I'm kind of surprised he hasn't. And that's not just
Right.
because of the hard knock spot, which was great, by the way. But in that sense, I was just surprised that his skill set didn't hasn't gotten a look for somebody, but maybe he's weighing the options. But yeah, generally overall, you're right. There were a couple surprises. Ulafojo, I was very surprised that he wasn't even brought back on the practice squad. So that pick was a miss for Bean. It's just the way it goes in this business. You have some, you win, hopefully win most, and you lose a few. So that's
Yeah.
just the way it goes in that respect.
That's what happens when you have a good team, man. And you run into these things.
Hmm.
Like it's a lot going from 90 to 53. So
Yep. Yep.
um,
And this is interesting here too. Sam Franklin Whittle, we brought him in for special teams.
yep.
Very savvy move. I like that move. I mean, like our good friend Kevin Massari said, you hear a lot of Carolina Panther fans talk about how they were upset that they lost
Mhm.
Franklin. Said it's always a good thing when you hear the fan base say that. So
We owed
again,
them one anyway.
yeah, we did for sure. This is another interesting thing too about the receivers. Gabe Davis. Who knows what's going to happen with Gabe Davis at this point? Maybe he's just on retainer, so to speak. If something happens, I didn't think he'd be a. Is he eligible? I don't think he would be a practice squad kind of guy. I think he's looking for a spot right away
No, they could
at
sign him
this
to the
point.
practice squad. They could sign him to the
Yeah,
practice squad.
yeah,
Ramp
yeah,
him up and then bring him up. Yeah, they could.
yeah. So maybe that's something else that happens come down the line. So we'll keep an eye on that going forward because I still think I don't know if he's really 100% yet. He's close, so maybe
Right.
the Bills them have an agreement like, hey, get back to me. Maybe even after that bye week, maybe that's when we start hearing some stuff about you. Yeah, we still have to see
Yeah.
how that goes.
As long as we got him for the playoff game against Kansas City, I'm good. Like that. That's what we need.
Yes. Yep.
Um, I wanted to. I'm not gonna rant, but I wanted to call some things onto the carpet. Um,
Let's do it.
we as a fan base let's not get caught up in groupthink. Guys, there's a lot of information out here. You can find a lot of information on players, rules, coaches, injuries, whatever statistic. You can find all of that stuff from the same smartphone. You post your tweets or Instagram stories. You can find that information there. Um, over the prior to the draft, right? And this is not the first year. It's not the first time this happened. We've had certain prospects torn down. Well, I don't want to say torn down, but certain prospects picked apart because they weren't um, the choice of of some Bills fans. And
Mhm.
what's turned out to happen is that uh, some of these prospects that were elevated over guys we actually ended up drafting, have fallen on their face. Last year, it was Keon Coleman was a bust, and he was not going to be good. He was
Mhm.
probably the worst choice you could make in out of the crop of receivers that were going to go in the first and second round. Well, the guys that a lot of you said were better were Xavier Leggett, A.D. Mitchell, Troy Franklin, et cetera, et cetera. Like those guys are not better. They're just not. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
Keon had like 500 yards off of like 20 something catches and he got hurt. Otherwise, we were probably looking at a 40 catch, 700-yard season from Keon Coleman with like 5 or 6 touchdowns. And the conversation surrounding him totally different. The big thing about him was that he couldn't separate. Uh, told you guys before he got drafted. So what? The separation doesn't need to be, because he doesn't need to separate with speed. He can separate through route running. He can separate through being a big guy and just kind of winning at the
Mhm.
catch point, or being able to position himself where he can make plays on the football. And he's starting to show that. He's starting to get better at those things. He's using his body position better. Um, as our good friend Alex Brasky continues to report from practice, that Keon Coleman is doing a great job of using his body, using his uh, route running, using his size to create separation and to create uh, areas of opportunity at the catch point where only he can make a play on the football. Um, and despite that, despite Keon looking like he was on his way to doing great things before Jordan Poyer, newly acquired Buffalo Bill Jordan
Mm-hmm.
Poyer, hit him and messed his wrist up. We did it again with Deion Walker, guys. We did it again. We did it again. You guys a lot of you guys said all off season he plays too high. His pad level stinks. He's not a true nose tackle. That's not what we need. He's not going to be great against the run. And some of you guys have been Bills fans for a very long time, know a lot of football, and still don't understand this team. The Bills, this coaching staff, they absolutely they go Google Gaga for uh flexibility for guys that you can move around to be interchangeable. Like they love that. But when you have a guy that's 6'7", 350 pounds with the feet of a linebacker, like with the
It's
quickness
insane.
and movement ability of a linebacker, like that is a guy that you can play everywhere. And you know why you can play him everywhere? Because they played him everywhere in college. He's good. And just be honest about it now. This wasn't your take 4 months ago. It wasn't. Be honest about it now. You were wrong
Mm-hmm.
about Deion Walker, just like you were wrong about Keon, and you were
Yeah.
wrong about Terrell Bernard, and you were wrong about a few other guys. Like, let's just be honest, guys. I mean, it's going to make for better conversations. It's going to make for better experiences, and we'll respect you a little more. So, I mean, that's all I got. You got anything else, Brian?
Now, listen, that's the thing. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being wrong, right? I mean, I wanted Josh Rosen. I'm the first to tell you. But I
Me
wasn't
too. Well,
down.
yeah.
I wasn't down on Josh Allen. I was just lukewarm on Josh Allen. So when we drafted, I was like, okay. Yeah, kind of like when Josh went, okay, right. That whole thing in the internet. That's what I was kind of like. Just like, all right, we'll see what he can do. I'm not getting upset or anything, and we'll see what he can bring to the table. And I'm okay with admitting I was wrong. I mean, we miss on certain things once in a while. I mean, and that's owning up to it is really and that's what we like to provide here. One last thought I wanted to talk about before we depart for the day is this, and Steve brings up a good point here. There's a lot of different reactions about Poyer and Phillips on the practice squad. I wanted to get your opinion on that and where you stand in terms of that in general. Because we've seen a lot of
Well,
negative thoughts, which I find a little
yeah.
surprising, but I wanted to get your thoughts on it.
Great point. Thank you, Steve. I appreciate that. The Jordan Phillips thing, I didn't comment on. Like when they said they were bringing Phillips back, I was like, all right, well, that just means one of the defensive tackles is out of here. Probably
Mhm.
Carter or maybe Solomon is out of here, and they're just gonna bring Jordan Phillips back. But I always looked at Jordan Phillips coming back as more of a, in case of emergency, we can plug you in because you understand what you're doing. But I looked
Mhm.
at it and I said, they're bringing him in to shorten the curve or to lessen the learning curve of a Deion Walker. So I never really understood the vitriol behind it. I mean, I guess I get it if if it was going to cost us a roster spot, but it didn't. And sometimes when
Mhm.
you're first, you actually last because if you would have
Mhm.
just waited, you would have saw that it wasn't what you thought it was, and you didn't need to crash out on the timeline the way some of you did. Same thing with Jordan Poyer. Like when they announced Jordan Poyer coming back to the team, I first of all, before this happened, I said it. I said, you know what? I said this probably last week. Was like, you know what? I wouldn't mind Jordan Poyer coming back, being in the role. And did I get? Boy, I tell you, people jumped down. I mean, people jumped all over me and on that thread. It's like, oh, no way! What do you want Poyer back for? He can't play anymore. He stinks. Blah blah blah. It's over for him. We're already bad enough. I'm tired of recycling players. And I'm like, dude, I don't want Poyer to come back here and start. I don't want him to even compete for the job. Like I want Poyer to come back, and I want him to I want him to take Cole Bishop and Hancock, and I want those guys attached to his hip, learning every trick of the trade that Jordan Poyer has, how Jordan Poyer always seems to find the football, how he always seems to make a play when we need it the most. Teach those guys, cultivate that in them that they already have. Cultivate it. That's why you bring
Hmm.
a guy like that back. Same way we did with Micah Hyde. Again, guys got to
I agree.
relax, man. Take a page. Take a
Yeah.
page out of Green Bay Aaron Rodgers.
Hmm.
RELAX.
Exactly.
Relax.
Little
Relax.
practice squad players. This is a zero risk, only reward situation, right? And they're good to have as insurance. Again, veterans that understand our system. And what is so bad about this? I mean, if we get that deep into our roster in general across the board, we got bigger problems than Jordan
Right, right.
Poyer and them being on our roster. We're in deep trouble if we got to dip that far into our practice squad. So
And,
that's
and
number one.
here's a scenario. Here's a scenario, right? Let's say we go into a game. Let's say
Hmm.
it's week 5, right? Week 5, we're
Yeah,
playing the Patriots.
Patriots. Yep.
Rap goes down. Bishop goes down. Cam goes down. We only got Hamlin left, right? So we got Hamlin and let's say Taron Johnson or Jamarcus Ingram closing us out at safety,
Hmm.
right, for the rest of the game. Who do you want to come in week 6? Jordan Poyer, who understands how this whole organization and defense works, or some guy that struggles to make a roster spot and is learning the defense for the first time? Who do you
Hmm.
want? I'd rather have Poyer and Hamlin out there than Hamlin
Yeah.
and some guy who
Hmm.
struck Wande Owens. I mean, no disrespect to him or Derek Forrest. Like those
Yeah.
guys couldn't stick here. So you bring them back to the practice squad and they're not ready to play.
If they were
So
good enough, they'd still be here. If they were good enough,
right,
they would still. If he was
100%.
that good, guaranteed, still on the roster. So, yep, that's where I stand. So onward and forward we
Exactly.
go, Whittle. And
On and forward we
want,
go.
want to say, hey, 850 listens tonight, Whittle. We had a hot show tonight. This is pretty great. And
Yeah.
we are next Wednesday, the night before the kickoff of the NFL season. Can you believe it? We're this close now. I mean, we're just like right there, right? There'll be Eagles Dallas, but of course, for us, our season kicks off Sunday night. So next week, you got a little glimpse into Whittle's Super Bowl prediction. But if you didn't listen, be here next week. Whittle, we could go through some picks. Maybe we'll do some rapid fire stuff, right? We'll document it. We'll have some fun with it, and we'll preview the Bill season in detail and get ready for Week 1 against the Ravens. Do
Yeah.
we have any guests coming on for the Ravens side of things next week?
Now I did speak to my man. I did speak to Kicker. Kicker said he was coming, so I just got
Nice,
to confirm that. And then
excellent.
we did the podcast with we did the barbershop podcast
Yes, yes,
with
yes.
Trey. So I'll reach out to Trey as well. Trey might be
Great.
watching. If you watching Trey, I'm gonna hit you up tomorrow and see
Yeah,
if we can get you in and Trippy up here together. We'll
do a little
talk
round
Ravens.
table. Yeah,
And I'm gonna be honest, man. Like I'm probably gonna reach out to a bunch of Raven fans, and we'll just try to have like a rapid fire thing. We bring different
yeah.
Ravens fans on. We'll talk to them. And Bill,
Let's do it.
listen, Bills fans, like I know that a lot of y'all are watching, and if y'all want to come on and interact with these Raven fans, like I think that will be a lot of fun.
Mhm.
So
We could do
we
that.
got
That
some
sounds like a
posters on
great
the
idea.
wall. We got my man Dog. Dog, we're gonna need
Oh,
you
let's get
next week
Dog
to
in there.
come on
Yes,
as well.
we need dog.
Get the
Yes,
crowd riled
yeah,
up. Yeah, and
yeah,
shout out
yeah,
to Lee Sean, my
yeah.
the mayor of Bills Mafia. My
Mayor of
ticket
Philadelphia.
my ticket is secured for
He's the best. He's the
Bills
best.
Ravens season opener. Yeah, yeah,
He
yeah, yeah.
he
And
is the best. He's the
he
best.
gave me a great price. He gave me a great price. Great
Yep.
price. I appreciate it.
Hmm. Michael, get
But
in
yeah,
touch with
okay.
us.
Hey,
Yep.
Michael, definitely hit me up in the DM, bro. We'll set it up, man. And
Hmm.
yeah, I appreciate
Yeah.
everybody popping in, man. Thank you guys. We
Hmm.
try to do this every week. We're not always on time, but we're right on time. And
Right on time.
hopefully
That's right.
you guys are entertained, and more importantly, hopefully you learn something. Um, and hopefully, and we're learning as well. So we're doing
Hmm.
this together. We're going to be very astute football watchers and understanders of of set of 14 other teams, because we will talk to all those other fan bases this year. So
That's right.
appreciate you
Bring it
guys
on.
locking in. I'm
Well,
good to go, man. I'm good to
that's all
go.
I had. Thank you, everybody. And next week we'll wrap up. We'll start out. We'll wrap up the Hard Knocks, which will be the last episode next week. We didn't get into 4, but maybe we'll roll that into next week, and then we'll get into it. Get some Bills fans on here, Raven fans here. We'll get right into week 1, and I can't wait. So it should be an extravaganza next
1-0.
Wednesday.
1-0. That's the goal every week, baby. 1-0. All right, everybody. Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
Have
Go
a great week.
Bills.
Go Bills.